Barbra Joan Streisand is an American singer-songwriter, author, actress, film producer, and director. She has won 2 Academy Awards, 8 Grammy Awards, 5 Emmy Awards including 1 Daytime Emmy, a special Tony Award, an American Film Institute Award, a Kennedy Center Honors Award, a Peabody Award, and is amongst 12 entertainers who have won an Oscar, Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award. She is one of the best-selling music artists of all time, with more than 71.5 million albums in the United States and 145 million records sold worldwide. She is the best-selling female artist on the Recording Industry Association of America's top-selling album artists list, the only female recording artist in the top 10, and the only artist outside of the rock and roll genre. After beginning a successful recording career in the 1960s, by the end of the decade, Streisand ventured into film. Starring in the critically acclaimed Funny Girl, for which she won the Academy Award and Golden Globe Award for Best Actress. Other notable films include The Owl and the Pussycat, The Way We Were, and A Star Is Born, for which she received her 2nd Academy Award for composing the music to the Picturia Euro unregistered trademark's main song, Evergreen. By the 1980s, Streisand established herself as one of the film industry Euro unregistered trademark's most notable figures by becoming the first woman to direct, produce, script and star in her own picture. According to the RIAA, Streisand holds the record for the most top 10 albums of any female recording artist, a total of 32 since 1963. Streisand has the widest span between first and latest top 10 albums of any female recording artist. With her 2009 album, Love Is the Answer, she became one of the rare artists to achieve #1 albums in 5 consecutive decades. According to the RIAA, she has released 51 gold albums, 30 platinum albums, and 13 multi-platinum albums in the United States. Early life, family. Barbra Joan Streisand was born on April 24, 1942, in Brooklyn, New York, the daughter of Diana and Emanuel Streisand. Her mother was a singer at one time but earned her income as a school secretary, and her father was a high school teacher. Her family was Jewish. Her paternal grandparents immigrated from Galicia and her maternal grandparents from Russia. In August 1943, 15 months after Streisand's birth, her father died at age 34 from complications from an epileptic seizure, and the family fell into near poverty. She has an older brother, Sheldon, and a half-sister, the singer Rosalind Kind, from her mother's remarriage to Louis Kind in 1949. Kind is 9 years younger than Streisand. Education. Streisand went to the Jewish Orthodox Yeshiva of Brooklyn, giving a solo performance at the age of 7. She later attended Erasmus Hall High School in Brooklyn and joined the freshman chorus and choral club. Streisand has recollected, "I'm so glad I came from Brooklyn, it's down to earth." Early career. Streisand recorded her first demos in 1955, at the age of 13, at NOLA Recording Studios in New York City. She sang Zing, When the Strings of My Heart, and You'll Never Know. The first remains unreleased, while the latter was included on Streisand's 1991 retrospective box set Just for the Record. Streisand later became a nightclub singer while in her teens. She wanted to be an actress and appeared in summer stock and in a number of off-Broadway productions, including Driftwood, with then-unknown Joan Rivers. Driftwood ran for only 6 weeks. Her boyfriend, Barry Denon, helped her create a club act. First performed at the Lion, a popular gay nightclub in Manhattan's Greenwich Village in 1960, and she achieved success as a singer. While singing at the Lion for several weeks, she modified her name from Barbara to Barbra. Afterward she appeared at other New York nightclubs, including the Bon Soy and the Blue Angel. One early appearance outside of New York City was at Enrico Bandac's unregistered trademark's Hungria nightclub in San Francisco in 1963. In 1961, Streisand appeared at the Town and Country nightclub in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, but her appearance was cut short because the club owner did not appreciate her singing style. Streisand appeared at Baker's Keyboard Lounge in Detroit in 1961. Streisand's first television appearance was on The Tonight Show, then hosted by Jack Paar, in 1961, singing Harold Arlen's A Sleeping Bee. Orson Bean, who substituted for Paar that night, had seen the singer perform at a gay bar and booked her for the telecast. Later in 1961, Streisand became a semi-regular on PM East PM West, a talk variety series. PM East was hosted by Mike Wallace and Joyce Davidson. PM West was hosted by Terence O'Flaherty. Westinghouse Broadcasting, which aired the television show in a select few cities, wiped all the videotapes soon after broadcasting them. Audio segments from some episodes, which were saved by Streisand's fans, are part of the compilation CD Just for the Record, which went platinum in 1991. The singer said on 60 Minutes in 1991 that 30 years earlier Wallace had been mean, very mean to her on PM East PM West. He countered that she had been totally self-absorbed. 60 Minutes included the audio of Streisand saying to him in 1961, "I like the fact that you are provoking. But don't provoke me." In 1962, after several appearances on PM East PM West, Streisand first appeared on Broadway in the small but star-making role of Miss Marmelstein in the musical I Can Get It For You Wholesale. Her first album, the Barbra Streisand album, won 2 Grammy Awards in 1963. Following her success in I Can Get It For You Wholesale, Streisand made several appearances on The Tonight Show in 1962 and 1963. Topics covered in her interviews with host Johnny Carson included the Empire waisted dresses that she bought wholesale and her crazy reputation at Erasmus Hall High School. As is the case with Wallace, only audio survives from small portions of her telecast conversations with Carson. It was at about this time that Streisand entered into a long and successful professional relationship with Lee Salters and Sheldon Ruskin as her publicists with the firm Salters Ruskin. Streisand returned to Broadway in 1964 with an acclaimed performance as entertainer Fanny Brice in Funny Girl at the Winter Garden Theatre. The show introduced 2 of her signature songs, People, and Don't Rain on My Parade. Because of the play's overnight success, she appeared on the cover of Time. In 1964 Streisand was nominated for a Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical but lost to Carol Channing in Hello, Dolly. Streisand received an honorary Star of the Decade Tony Award in 1970. In 1966, she repeated her success with Funny Girl in London's West End at the Prince of Wales Theatre. From 1965 to 1967 she appeared in her first 4 solo television specials. Career: Singing, Streisand has recorded 50 studio albums, almost all with Columbia Records. Her early works in the 1960s are considered classic renditions of theatre and cabaret standards, including her pensive version of the normally up-tempo Happy Days Are Here Again. She performed this in a duet with Judy Garland on The Judy Garland Show. Garland referred to her on the air as one of the last great belters. They also sang There's No Business Like Show Business with Ethel Merman joining them. Beginning with My Name is Barbara, her early albums were often medley-filled keepsakes of her television specials. Starting in 1969, she began attempting more contemporary material, but like many talented singers of the day, she found herself out of her element with rock. Her vocal talents prevailed, and she gained newfound success with the pop and ballad-oriented Richard Perry-produced album Stony End in 1971. The title track, written by Laura Nyro, was a major hit for Streisand. During the 1970s, she was also highly prominent on the pop charts, with top 10 recordings such as The Way We Were, Evergreen, No More Tears, which as of 2010 is reportedly still the most commercially successful duet You Don't Bring Me Flowers, and The Main Event, some of which came from soundtrack recordings of her films. As the 1970s ended, Streisand was named the most successful female singer in the U.S. Only Elvis Presley and the Beatles has sold more albums. In 1980, she released her best-selling effort to date, the Barry Gibb-produced Guilty. The album contained the hits Woman in Love, Guilty, and What Kind of Fool? After years of largely ignoring Broadway and traditional pop music in favor of more contemporary material, Streisand returned to her musical theatre roots with 1985's The Broadway album, which was unexpectedly successful, holding the coveted #1 Billboard position for 3 straight weeks, and being certified quadruple platinum. The album featured tunes by Rodgers and Hammerstein, George Gershwin, Jerome Kern, and Stephen Sondheim, who was persuaded to rework some of his songs especially for this recording. The Broadway album was met with acclaim, including a Grammy nomination for Album of the Year and, ultimately, handed Streisand her 8th Grammy as Best Female Vocalist. After releasing the live album One Voice in 1986, Streisand was set to release another album of Broadway songs in 1988. She recorded several cuts for the album under the direction of Rupert Holmes, including On My Own, a medley of How Are Things in Glockenmorra, and Heather on the Hill, All I Ask of You, Warm All Over, and an unusual solo version of Make Our Garden Grow. Streisand was not happy with the direction of the project and it was ultimately scrapped. Only Warm All Over, and a reworked, light FM-friendly version of All I Ask of You were ever released, the latter appearing on Streisand's 1988 effort, Till I Loved You. At the beginning of the 1990s, Streisand started focusing on her film directorial efforts and became almost inactive in the recording studio. In 1991, a 4-disc box set, Just for the Record, was released. A compilation spanning Streisand's entire career to date, it featured over 70 tracks of live performances, greatest hits, rarities and previously unreleased material. The following year, Streisand's concert fundraising events helped propel former President Bill Clinton into the spotlight and into office. Streisand later introduced Clinton at his inauguration in 1993. Streisand's music career, however, was largely on hold. A 1992 appearance at an APLA benefit as well as the aforementioned inaugural performance hinted that Streisand was becoming more receptive to the idea of live performances. A tour was suggested, though Streisand would not immediately commit to it, citing her well-known stage fright as well as security concerns. During this time, Streisand finally returned to the recording studio and released Back to Broadway in June 1993. The album was not as universally lauded as its predecessor, but it did debut at #1 on the pop charts. One of the album's highlights was a medley of I Have a Love/One Hand, One Heart, a duet with Johnny Mathis, who Streisand said is one of her favorite singers. In 1993, New York Times music critic Stephen Holden wrote that Streisand enjoys a cultural status that only one other American entertainer, Frank Sinatra, has achieved in the last half-century. In September 1993, Streisand announced her first public concert appearances in 27 years. What began as a 2-night New Year's event at the MGM Grand Las Vegas eventually led to a multi-city tour in the summer of 1994. Tickets for the tour were sold out in under 1 hour. Streisand also appeared on the covers of major magazines in anticipation of what Time magazine named the music event of the century. The tour was one of the biggest all-media merchandise parlays in history. Ticket prices ranged from $50 to $1,500 a euro, making Streisand the highest-paid concert performer in history. Barbra Streisand, the concert went on to be the top-grossing concert of the year and earned 5 Emmy Awards and the Peabody Award, while the taped broadcast on HBO is, to date, the highest-rated concert special in HBO's 30-year history. Following the tour's conclusion, Streisand once again kept a low profile musically, instead focusing her efforts on acting and directing duties as well as a burgeoning romance with actor James Brolin. In 1996, Streisand released I Finally Found Someone as a duet with Canadian singer-songwriter Bryan Adams. The song was nominated for an Oscar as it was part of the soundtrack of Streisand's self-directed movie The Mirror Has Two Faces. It reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, and was her first significant hit in almost a decade and her first top 10 hit on the Hot 100 since 1981. In 1997, she finally returned to the recording studio, releasing Higher Ground, a collection of songs of a loosely inspirational nature which also featured a duet with car copyright Line Dion. The album received generally favorable reviews and, remarkably, once again debuted at #1 on the pop charts. Following her marriage to Brolin in 1998, Streisand recorded an album of love songs entitled A Love Like Ours the following year. Reviews were mixed, with many critics complaining about the somewhat syrupy sentiments and overly lush arrangements. However, it did produce a modest hit for Streisand in the country-tinged If You Ever Leave Me, a duet with Vince Gill. On New Year's Eve 1999, Streisand returned to the concert stage, selling out in the first few hours, 8 months before her return. At the end of the millennium, she was the #1 female singer in the U.S., with at least 2 #1 albums in each decade since she began performing. A 2-disc live album of the concert entitled Timeless, Live in Concert was released in 2000. Streisand performed versions of the Timeless concert in Sydney and Melbourne, Australia, in early 2000. In advance of 4 concerts in September 2000, Streisand announced that she was retiring from playing public concerts. Her performance of the song People was broadcast on the Internet via America Online. Streisand's most recent albums have been Christmas Memories, a somewhat somber collection of holiday songs, and the movie album, featuring famous film themes and backed by a large symphony orchestra. Guilty Pleasures, a collaboration with Barry Gibb and a sequel to their Guilty, was released worldwide in 2005. In February 2006, Streisand recorded the song Smile alongside Tony Bennett at Streisand's Malibu home. The song is included on Bennett's 80th birthday album, Duets. In September 2006, the pair filmed a live performance of the song for a special directed by Rob Marshall entitled Tony Bennett, an American Classic. The special aired on NBC November 21, 2006, and was released on DVD the same day. Streisand's duet with Bennett opened the special. In 2006, Streisand announced her intent to tour again, in an effort to raise money and awareness for multiple issues. After 4 days of rehearsal at the Sovereign Bank Arena in Trenton, New Jersey, the tour began on October 4 at the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia, continued with a featured stop in Fort Lauderdale, Florida and concluded at Staples Center in Los Angeles on November 20, 2006. Special guests Il Divo were interwoven throughout the show. The show was known as Streisand, the Tour. Streisand's 20-concert tour set box office records. At the age of 64, well past the prime of most performers, she grossed $92,457,062 and set house gross records in 14 of the 16 arenas played on the tour. She set the third-place record for her October 9, 2006 show at Madison Square Garden, the first and second-place records of which are held by her 2 shows in September 2000. She set the second-place record at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, with her December 31, 1999 show being the house record and the highest-grossing concert of all time. This led many people to openly criticize Streisand for price gouging, as many tickets sold for upwards of $1,000. A collection of performances culled from different stops on this tour, Live in Concert 2006, debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200, making it Streisand's 29th top 10 album. In the summer of 2007, Streisand gave concerts for the first time in continental Europe. The first concert took place in Saar 1/4, then Vienna, Paris, Berlin, Stockholm, Manchester and Selbridge, near Dublin, followed by 3 concerts in London, the only European city where Streisand had performed before 2007. Tickets for the London dates cost between £100 and £1,500 and for the Ireland date between £118 and £500. The Ireland date was marred by problems, with serious parking and seating problems leading to the events being dubbed a fiasco by hot press. The tour included a 58-piece orchestra. In February 2008, Forbes listed Streisand as the No-2 earning female musician, between June 2006 and June 2007, with earnings of about $60 million. On November 17, 2008, Streisand returned to the studio to begin recording what would be her 63rd album, and it was announced that Diana Krall was producing the album. Streisand is one of the recipients of the 2008 Kennedy Center Honors. On December 7, 2008, she visited the White House as part of the ceremonies. On April 25, 2009, CBS aired Streisand's latest TV special, ʻstraɪsænd, Live in Concert, highlighting the aforementioned featured stop from her 2006 North American tour, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. On September 26, 2009, Streisand performed a one-night-only show at the Village Vanguard in New York City's Greenwich Village. This performance was later released on DVD as One Night Only, Barbra Streisand and Quartet at the Village Vanguard. On September 29, 2009, Streisand and Columbia Records released her newest studio album, Love Is the Answer, produced by Diana Krall. On October 2, 2009, Streisand made her British television performance debut with an interview on Friday Night with Jonathan Ross to promote the album. This album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and registered her biggest weekly sales since 1997, making Streisand the only artist in history to achieve #1 albums in 5 different decades. On February 1, 2010, Streisand joined over 80 other artists in recording a new version of the 1985 charity single We Are the World. Quincy Jones and Lionel Richie plan to release the new version to mark the 25th anniversary of its original recording. These plans changed, however, in view of the devastating earthquake that hit Haiti on January 12, 2010, and on February 12, the song, now called We Are the World 25 for Haiti, made its debut as a charity single to support relief aid for the beleaguered island nation. In 2011, she sang Somewhere from the Broadway musical West Side Story, with child prodigy Jackie Evancho, on Evancho's album Dream With Me. Streisand was honored as Musicare's Person of the Year on February 11, 2011, 2 days prior to the 53rd Annual Grammy Awards. On October 11, 2012, Streisand gave a 3-hour concert performance before a crowd of 18,000 as part of the ongoing inaugural events of Barclays Center in her native Brooklyn. Streisand was joined on stage by trumpeter Chris Botti, Italian operatic trio Il Volo, and her son Jason Gould. The concert included musical tributes by Streisand to Donna Summer and Marvin Hamlisch, both of whom had died earlier in 2012. Confirmed attendees included Barbara Walters, Jimmy Fallon, Sting, Katie Couric, Woody Allen, Michael Douglas and New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, as well as designers Calvin Klein, Donna Karan, Ralph Lauren and Michael Kors. In June 2013 she gave 2 concerts in Bloomfield Stadium, Tel Aviv. Streisand is one of many singers who use teleprompters during their live performances. Streisand has defended her choice in using teleprompters to display lyrics and, sometimes, banter. Streisand is a mezzo-soprano who has a range consisting of well over 2 octaves from low E to a high G and probably a bit more in either direction. While she is predominantly a pop singer, Streisand's voice has been described as semi-operatic due to its strength and quality of tone. She is known for her ability to hold relatively high notes, both loud and soft, with great intensity, as well as for her ability to make slight but unobtrusive embellishments on a melodic line. The former quality led classical pianist Glenn Gould to call himself a Streisand freak. In recent years, critics and audiences have noted that her voice has lowered and acquired an occasionally husky edge. However, New York Times music critic Stephen Holden noted that her distinctive tone and musical instincts remain, and that she still has the gift of conveying a primal human longing and a beautiful sound. Acting. Her first film was a reprise of her Broadway hit, Funny Girl, an artistic and commercial success directed by Hollywood veteran William Wyler. Streisand won the 1968 Academy Award for Best Actress for the role, sharing it with Katharine Hepburn, the only time there has been a tie in this Oscar category. Her next 2 movies were also based on musicals, Jerry Herman's Hello, Dolly, directed by Gene Kelly, and Alan J. Lerner's and Burton Lane's On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, directed by Vincent Minnelli. While her 4th film was based on the Broadway play The Owl and the Pussycat. During the 1970s, Streisand starred in several screwball comedies, including What's Up, Doc? And The Main Event, both co-starring Ryan O'Neal, and For Pete's Sake with Michael Sarrazin. One of her most famous roles during this period was in the drama The Way We Were with Robert Redford, for which she received an Academy Award nomination as Best Actress. She earned her second Academy Award for Best Original Song for the song Evergreen, from A Star Is Born in 1976. Along with Paul Newman, Sidney Poitier and later Steve McQueen, Streisand formed First Artists Production Company in 1969, so that the actors could secure properties and develop movie projects for themselves. Streisand's initial outing with First Artists was Up the Sandbox. From a period beginning in 1969 and ending in 1980, Streisand appeared in the annual Motion Picture Exhibitors poll of top 10 box office attractions a total of 10 times, often as the only woman on the list. After the commercially disappointing All Night Long in 1981, Streisand's film output decreased considerably. She has acted in only 7 films since. Streisand produced a number of her own films, setting up Barwood Films in 1972. For Yentl, she was producer, director, and star, an experience she repeated for The Prince of Tides and The Mirror Has Two Faces. There was controversy when Yentl received 5 Academy Award nominations, but none for the major categories of Best Picture, Actress, or Director. The Prince of Tides received even more Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, but the director was not nominated. Streisand also scripted Yentl, something for which he is not always given credit. According to the New York Times editorial page editor Andrew Rosenthal in an interview with Alan Wolper, the one thing that makes Barbra Streisand crazy is when nobody gives her the credit for having written Yentl. In 2004, Streisand made a return to film acting, after an 8-year hiatus, in the comedy Meet the Fockers, playing opposite Dustin Hoffman, Ben Stiller, Blythe Danner and Robert De Niro. In 2005, Streisand's Barwood Films, Gary Smith, and Sonny Murray purchased the rights to Simon Moore's book Mendel's Dwarf. In December 2008, she stated that she was considering directing an adaptation of Larry Kramer's play The Normal Heart, a project she has worked on since the mid-1990s. In 2009, Andrew Lloyd Webber stated that Streisand was one of several actresses who was interested in playing the role of Norma Desmond in the film adaptation of Webber's musical version of Sunset Boulevard. In December 2010, Streisand appeared in Little Fockers, the third film from the Meet the Parents trilogy. She reprised the role of Roz Focker alongside Dustin Hoffman. On January 4, 2011, the New York Post reported that Streisand was in negotiations to produce, direct, and star in a new film version of Gypsy. In an interview with the New York Post, Arthur Laurents said, "We've talked about it a lot, and she knows what she's doing. She is my approval." He said that he would not write the screenplay. The following day, the New York Times reported that Arthur Laurents clarified in a telephonic interview that Streisand would not direct the film, but playing Rose is enough to make her happy. Streisand's spokesperson confirmed that there have been conversations. After Laurents' subsequent death, there was no official word on the status of the film for months, until it was announced on March 13, 2012 that Gypsy would be moving forward, with Julian Fellowes writing the screenplay for the project. On January 28, 2011, The Hollywood Reporter announced that Paramount Pictures had given the green light to begin shooting the road trip comedy My Mother's Curse, with Seth Rogen playing Streisand's character's son. Anne Fletcher directed the project with a script by Dan Fogelman, produced by Lorne Michaels, John Goldwyn, and Evan Goldberg. Executive producers included Streisand, Rogen, Fogelman, and David Ellison, whose Skydance Productions co-financed the road movie. Shooting began in spring 2011 and wrapped in July. The film's title was eventually altered to The Guilt Trip, and the movie was released in December 2012. Personal life, relationships and family. Streisand has been married twice. Her first husband was actor Elliot Gould, to whom she was married from 1963 until 1971. They had one child, Jason Gould, who appeared as her on-screen son in The Prince of Tides. In 1969 and 1970, Streisand dated Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. She started dating her hairdresser John Peters in 1974. He went on to be her manager and producer. She is the godmother of his daughters, Carly Peters and Sky Peters. Streisand dated actor Don Johnson between 1988 and 1989. Johnson duetted with Streisand on the title song from her 1988 album Till I Loved You. Streisand was also in a relationship with ice cream star Richard Baskin lasting at least until 1986. Baskin produced her 1985 album The Broadway Album as well as her 1987 live album One Voice. Baskin also collaborated with her on the song Here We Are at Last from her 1984 album Emotion. Streisand dated tennis champion Andre Agassi in the early 1990s. Writing about the relationship in his 2009 autobiography, Agassi said, "We agreed that we're good for each other, and so what if she's 28 years older? We're simpatico, and the public outcry only adds spice to our connection. It makes our friendship feel forbidden, taboo, another piece of my overall rebellion." Dating Barbra Streisand is like wearing hot lava. Her second husband is actor James Brolin, whom she married on July 1, 1998. While they have no children together, Brolin has 2 children from his first marriage, including actor Josh Brolin, and 1 child from his second marriage. Both of her husbands, Gould and Brolin, starred in the 1970s conspiracy sci-fi thriller Capricorn 1. Name: Streisand changed her name from Barbara to Barbra because, she said, "I hated the name, but I refused to change it." Streisand further explained, "Well, I was 18 and I wanted to be unique, but I didn't want to change my name because that was too false. You know, people were saying you could be Joni Sands, or something like that. And I said, no, let's see, if I take out the A, it's still Barbara, but it's unique." A 1967 biography with a concert program said, "The spelling of her first name is an instance of partial rebellion. She was advised to change her last name and retaliated by dropping an A-or I- from the first instead." Politics: Streisand has long been an active supporter of the Democratic Party and many of its causes. In 1971, Streisand was one of the celebrities listed on President Richard Nixon's infamous enemies list. Streisand is a supporter of gay rights, and in 2007 helped raise funds in an unsuccessful attempt to defeat Proposition 8 in California. Philanthropy: In 1984, Streisand donated the Emanuel Streisand Building for Jewish Studies to the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, in the Mount Skippus campus, in memory of her father, an educator and scholar who died when she was young. Streisand has personally raised $25 million for organizations through her live performances. The Streisand Foundation, established in 1986, has contributed over $16 million through nearly 1,000 grants to national organizations working on preservation of the environment, voter education, the protection of civil liberties and civil rights, women's issues and nuclear disarmament. In 2006, Streisand donated $1 million to the William J. Clinton Foundation in support of former President Bill Clinton's unregistered trademark's climate change initiative. In 2009, Streisand gifted $5 million to endow the Barbra Streisand Women's Cardiovascular Research and Education Program at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center's Women's Heart Center. In September that year, Parade magazine included Streisand on its Giving Back Fund's second annual Giving Back 30 survey, a ranking of the celebrities who have made the largest donations to charity in 2007 according to public records, as the third most generous celebrity. The Giving Back Fund claimed Streisand donated $11 million, which the Streisand Foundation distributed. In 2012 she raised $22 million to support her Women's Cardiovascular Center, bringing her own personal contribution to $10 million. The program was officially named the Barbra Streisand Women's Heart Center. At Julian unregistered trademark's auctions in October 2009, Streisand, a longtime collector of art and furniture, sold 526 items, with all the proceeds going to her foundation. Items included a costume from Funny Lady and a vintage dental cabinet purchased by the performer at 18 years old. The sale unregistered trademark's most valuable lot was a painting by Kees van Dungen. In December 2011, she agreed to sing at a fundraising gala for Israel Defense Forces charities. References in popular culture, in television, on the sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live, In the recurring skit Coffee Talk, character Linda Richman, played by Mike Myers, hosts a talk show dedicated to, among other things, the adoration of Streisand. Streisand, in turn, made an unannounced guest appearance on the show, surprising Myers and guests, Madonna and Roseanne Barr. Mike Myers also appeared as the Linda Richman character on stage with Streisand at her 1994 MGM Grand Concert, as well as a few of the 1994 Streisand tour shows. Streisand is mentioned in the sitcom Will and Grace, particularly by the character Jack McFarland. Songs made famous by Streisand, such as Papa, Can You Hear Me? From Yentl and Can't Help Lovin' Dat Man from the Broadway album are reproduced by characters in the show. Also, in the episode Fagmalion, Will and Jack, who are making over their gay-in-training Barry, make him recite Judy, Liza, Barbara, Bet, These Are Names I Shan't Forget, as part of his gay affirmations. At least 5 episodes of the animated sitcom The Simpsons refer to Streisand. Outside Springfield Elementary School, announcing Lisa's jazz concert and noting tickets have been sold out, is an advertisement for a Streisand concert in the same venue for the following day, with tickets still on sale. In Fear of Flying, after Marge undergoes therapy, she informs the therapist that whenever she hears the wind blow, she'll hear it saying Lauenstein, Streisand's therapist character in The Prince of Tides, even though Marge's therapist is named Zweig. Another reference comes in Sleeping with the Enemy, when Bart exclaims after seeing Lisa make a snow angel and a cake on the kitchen table, "At least she's not singing Streisand," in reference to Nelson Muntz singing Papa Can You Hear Me? From Yentl earlier in the episode. In Simple Simpson, a patriotic country singer says that Streisand is unpatriotic and could be pleased by spitting on the flag and strangling a bald eagle. Another reference is in the animated series South Park, most notably in the episode Mecha Streisand, where Streisand is portrayed as a self-important, evil, gigantic robotic dinosaur with a terrible singing voice about to conquer the universe before being defeated by Robert Smith of The Cure. On another occasion, the Halloween episode Spooky Fish is promoted for a week as being done in Spooky Vision, which involves Streisand's face seen at times during the episode in the 4 corners of the screen. At the end of the feature film South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut, her name is used as a powerful curse word, a gag repeated in the episode Osama bin Laden Has Fatty Pants. The Mecha Streisand character made a return in the season 14 episodes 200 and 201. As one of several celebrities the show had lampooned over the years. The creators of the show have publicly displayed distaste for Barbara, and in return Barbara has been critical of the show, calling it negative and cynical. In the DreamWorks animation CGI series Father of the Bride, in the episode, And the Revolution Continues, Streisand appears as a guest at MGM Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas, where Siegfried and Roy are entertaining her and her husband James Brolin. She was about to eat a lobster named Emerson, but was saved by the series' main protagonist, Larry the White Lion, after he has a confrontation with Barbara. Streisand is referenced frequently on the Fox TV musical series Glee. The character Rachel mentions that Streisand refused to alter her nose in order to become famous in the show's 3rd episode at Kafla's. Also, in the mid-season finale of Glee, Rachel sings the Streisand anthem Don't Rain on My Parade. In the episode Hello, she says that she will be heartbroken for life, like Barbara in The Way We Were. In the same episode, Jesse St. James criticizes Rachel's performance of Don't Rain on My Parade by saying that she lacked Barbara's emotional depth. In the episode Theatricality, Rachel is spying on the opposing team's dance rehearsal when the director, Shelby Corcoran, expresses dissatisfaction at the team's routine. She demonstrates how it's done with the title song from Funny Girl, and Rachel, sitting in the audience, whispers to her friend, "Exactly what I would have done Euro Barbara. I could do it in my sleep." In the episode Grilled Cheeses, Rachel sings Streisand's famous song from the movie Yentl Euro Papa, Can You Hear Me? A Euro to help support Kurt's dad Bert after undergoing a heart attack. Rachel sang it in a park with Finn sitting at her side in Bert Hummel's hospital room. She told Finn that she wanted nothing to come between her and God, and Yentl sang it outside in the movie. On the episode Born This Way, Streisand is mentioned when Rachel is debating whether or not to get a nose job. Kurt Hummel and the rest of the Glee Club set up a Barbra-vention of a flash mob to the popular hit Barbra Streisand by Duck Sauce. The characters of Kurt and Rachel also sang the Get Happy Happy Days Are Here Again duet originally heard during Streisand's 1963 appearance with Judy Garland on Garland's weekly TV series. In the Season 3 episode I'm Unicorn, Kurt sings Streisand's I'm the Greatest Star from the musical Funny Girl, stating, he has permission from the woman herself, actually meaning Rachel Berry. When Glee won the prize for Best TV Series Comedy or Musical at the 2010 Golden Globe Awards, creator Ryan Murphy quipped on stage, "Thank you to the Hollywood Foreign Press and Miss Barbra Streisand." In the sitcom The Nanny, Streisand is viewed as a divine figure by Fran Fine throughout the sitcom's run. When asked by her boss who she would save if her mother and Streisand were drowning, Fran replies, "I'd save Ma, Barbara can walk on water." Another example is in The Passover Story, when Fran hears that Streisand and James Brolin will be arriving at the airport, Fran runs towards the door yelling, "It's the miracle of Passover, the Messiah is coming." On film, in movies, Streisand is the favorite performer of Kevin Kline's character Howard Brackett, who finally admits to being gay while standing at the altar in the 1997 romantic comedy In and Out. His unfortunate bride-to-be, played by Joan Cusack, cries out in frustration to family and friends present, "Does anybody here know how many times I've had to sit through Funny Lady?" In an earlier scene, Howard is taunted by a friend during an argument at a bar with a jeering, "The studio thought that Barbara was too old to play Yentl." A film also mentions the album Color Me Barbara. Streisand's signature tune, People, is played by a school orchestra in honor of teacher Howard as the story wraps at the end of the credits. This and similar references point to her popularity among gay men. In the 1996 comedy The Associate, Whoopi Goldberg plays a businesswoman, Laurel S., who creates a business associate, Robert S. Cutty, who is said to have known and dated Streisand. In addition to having an autographed picture of Streisand in her office, Ayres also has a cross-dressing friend who dresses up to resemble Streisand throughout the film. The characters Carla and Connie, as an aspiring song and dance act duo in the 2004 comedy Connie and Carla, include 4 Streisand references. They sing Papa, Can You Hear Me? And Memory at an airport lounge and Don't Rain on My Parade on stage in a gay bar, and talk about the plot of Yentl at the climax of the film after they ask how many in their audience have seen the movie. In a montage of makeovers in the 1993 film Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams' character is transformed into someone vaguely resembling Streisand and proceeds to sing the first verse of Don't Rain on My Parade, even mimicking Streisand's signature facial expressions. In music, sound clips of Streisand's heated exchange with a supporter of former U.S. President George W. Bush were sampled in the 2009 Lucien Pian dance song Bail Out, making it sound as if she were arguing with actor Christian Bale. Barbra Streisand is a disco house song by American-Canadian DJ duo Duck Sauce. It was released on September 10, 2010. The song peaked at number 1 in Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Finland, Switzerland and Austria. It became a top 10 hit in Australia, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Ireland, and Italy. On stage, Daniel Stern's 2003 off-Broadway play Barbara's Wedding was set against the backdrop of Streisand's 1998 wedding to James Brolin. The comedy play Buyer and Seller, written by Jonathan Tolins, is set in Streisand's cellar. A struggling actor finds a job there and one day meets the star. It is a one-man show starring Michael Urie that premiered at Rattlestick Playwrights Theatre in April 2013. Streisand Effect. In 2003, Streisand sued aerial photographer Kenneth Adelman for displaying a photograph of her Malibu, California home, along with 12,000 other photos of the California coastline taken to illustrate coastal erosion. The picture had at that point been downloaded a total of 6 times, 2 of which were by Streisand's lawyers. The suit had the unintended consequence of drawing attention to the photograph, which suddenly became wildly popular and was rapidly copied to multiple mirrors outside the immediate reach of U.S. law. Her lawsuit was eventually dismissed under the anti-SLAPP provisions of California law. Mike Masnick of TechDiet coined the term Streisand effect in January 2005 to describe the publicity generated by Streisand's efforts to suppress the publication of the photograph. Awards. In 1984, Streisand was awarded the Women in Film Crystal Award for Outstanding Women who, through their endurance and the excellence of their work, have helped to expand the role of women within the entertainment industry. She also received the National Medal of Arts in 2000 and the Kennedy Center Honors in 2008. She was inducted as an Officer of France's Legion of Honor in 2007. She was accorded an honorary doctorate in Arts and Humanities by Brandeis University in 1995 and an honorary doctorate of philosophy by the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in 2013. In that year, she was also recipient of the Charles Chaplin Lifetime Achievement Award by the Film Society of Lincoln Center as the only female artist who directed, wrote, produced and starred in the same major studio film. Music awards. Streisand's works have been nominated for 40 Grammy Awards. She won 8 of these, including 2 special awards. She has been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame 3 times. In 2011, she was honored as Musicare's Person of the Year by the Grammy Foundation. Film awards. Streisand has won 2 Academy Awards against 5 nominations, 2 for acting, 2 for songwriting and 1 for Best Picture, appearances, Broadway performances, West End performances, television specials, tours and live performances. Discography. Books, 2010, My Passion for Design, Filmography, References. Further reading. External links, official website, barbranews.com, barbara-archives.com, Barbra Streisand at All Movie, Barbra Streisand at the Internet Movie Database, Barbra Streisand at the Internet Broadway Database, Barbra Streisand at the Internet Off-Broadway Database, Video, Barbra Streisand accepts the AFI Life Achievement Award in 2001 9 minutes.